Boy, you might want to say tonight is an interview with a vampire because our guest tonight, you might have seen a few days ago, and what a statement that he made on the Colory Community Wrestling Facebook page, where he certainly announced his target, and especially after you watch the historic Fight or Strike 4 show, you definitely know who I'm talking about. Let's just say a second generation wrestler might be sleeping with one eye open. Our guest is going to talk about next Saturday's very important show for somebody that we honored here last year on this platform in the legendary Mr. Carnage. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about our guest goals. We're going to talk about who exactly is our guest. And we're going to talk about what his intentions are here, and especially in a dramatically different landscape in colory community wrestling. But that might, you want to say, give an opportunity for more blood, more victims, and more carnage for our guest. Because after all, he's making quite a statement tonight here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters, and the platform that Colory Community Wrestling and our guest most certainly helped build here, Sportzwire Radio, to the tune of 1,400 plus subscribers, and not one but two magical moments that people still talk about with the Man Beast, the War Machine Rhino, and Savio Vega, who many would say was responsible for the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin. But since our guest is here, and I don't want to be the next victim, I don't want to have my blood sucked, and I want to make sure that this interview with a vampire, let's just say, goes on the up and up. I'm going to give our guest that introduction that so many from the CCW locker room have gotten, and let's just say this introduction will give Carnage, or maybe as one of my favorite bands had an album famously, Van Halen, there might be some for unlawful carnal knowledge here tonight on Sportswire Radio. So, ladies and gentlemen, our guest wants it. You want it here listening and watching, and I want it. So let's get ready to rumble. So with without further ado, here on the Sport Report, number one, Global Sports Show. A man that is one of the newest members of the Colory Community Wrestling roster. His name is simply put my friend, how are we doing?
That's one way I've heard my name pronounced.
Well, you're going to hear your name pronounced quite a bit tonight, and I'm sure over these next several months in Colory Community Wrestling, and especially next Saturday, Colory Carnage, let's just say, is going to take place. There'll be some Colory Community Wrestling that we'll see, but you'll be a huge part of it for the Carnage show coming up here next Saturday. But I'll get to that in a minute. But for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters, the platform you, Luca, and Colory Community Wrestling most certainly helped build here, Sportswire Radio, I ask you, who is Luca?
Who is Luca? You see, that's a very, very detailed, a very long question. It spans back much, much longer than Collery, than Carnage, even present day. But I can say that in terms of what Luca is. Not a person. He's not like you. He's not like them. Whatever they are that watch these matches, that cheer for the filth, for the tainted blood, for the meat sacks that you see just jumping around, doing all this and all that. Luca isn't one of them. Yeah, if I had to label it, Luca, he's an appetite. He's a hatred. Is what happens when you see the dark and you realize just how well everything can turn out if all you do is let that little push. That is what I'd say Luca is.
So it sounds like you have an appetite for destruction. That's what it sounds like to me, not to reference Guns N' Roses, but you have an appetite for destruction. And what do you mean by them?
What do I mean by them? I mean that the vermin, the filth, everything wrong with this world, you see in that crowd, you see in that ring. And you seriously tell me that they walk through here, they don't have any skeletons in their closet at all? They don't have the little monster under the bed. They don't have the monster at the back of the wardrobe. They don't have the dark thought at the back of the head. The ones that you try to keep hidden. That is what I cannot stand about this world anymore. I have seen the hell. I have seen the blood. I have seen the carnage. And I can tell you that next week, when I meet Jack in that ring, I will show him what true betrayal, what true hurt, what true pain feels like. He claims that he doesn't listen to his father anymore, that his father cast him out, that he abandoned him. Well, guess what? You don't tug on Superman's cape, you don't piss in the wind, and you definitely do not turn your back on family. That's one thing I learned the hard way, and that is one thing I've seen happen time again. If all it takes is that little push, that little bit of bloodshed, I'd say I'm more than happy to teach the values of what life actually has to offer,
Mm, you're
and offer
waiting
with
to
this
teach.
along the way.
You're going to teach your opponent a lesson in a way that's father and son like. Is that what you're implying? And let's talk about that here. Let's talk about your opponent next Saturday. I'm going to put the poster up here in a minute for the audience. Your opponent, Jack Hart, a second generation wrestler, but you had some history with, and you had a problem or two with, especially at the Rumble a few weeks ago at the historic Fighter Strike 4 show. So let's talk about your opponent here coming up next Saturday, who you just alluded to, and the one and only Jack Hart.
Second generation trash.
Mm.
In terms of history, there wasn't any before. He brought this on himself. See, during that rumble, the things I'd seen, I didn't see a challenge. I didn't see a cage. I didn't see a box. It was like a hotel room. It was a place for me to hone my skills, to show my craft. It was everything I think this world should be. Just a sheet of red, blood, just carnage, just gore, just viscera, just everything that gives you that thrill, that little high in your mind. Was everything I want this life to be, only for him to then just spoil it up.
But he denied you of an opportunity at something that, well, would have put you on the grandest stage of them all. And now you're going to, let's just say, introduce yourself to a wider audience here next Saturday and making a statement here. And you called Jack Hart second generation trash. And you're going to show everybody next Saturday exactly why he is that.
Precisely.
Precisely. Precisely. Straight and to the point. Interesting. Straight and to the point. What a way to make a statement, right? You're wrestling a second generation wrestler and you're doing it at an historic show, for Mr. Carnage. And those that know or those that may not know that'll watch this, and Mr. Carnage and what he meant to CCW, what he meant here to this platform. He's in our Hall of Fame, and he's somebody that, well, let's just say, you talked about the second generation trash that you're wrestling. Well, the first generation one has quite a history with Mr. Carnage. And what a way to show an example here. It'll almost be like you'll be channeling the spirit of Mr. Carnage here by making that statement next Saturday, ironically enough, against one Jack Hart.
See, handling something like that, I never had the pleasure to meet Mr. Carnage himself. But the clue is in the title. He understood. He realized what pain, the pleasure, the suffering, the thrill, the euphoria. He recognized everything that it brought to the person. You see, carnage isn't just a word. It's not just an idea. It's like a medicine. It's a cure for the soul.
Cure for the soul, medicine. So you're the medicine then in this dramatically changed landscape in CCW. You're the medicine that's going to cure everything, and especially all the ills right now that CCW has. And you're going to start that here next Saturday. So you are the medicine. And I guess then everybody is on notice.
Everyone's on notice and everyone's in the queue to accept the gift. I tried to give it to someone previously and he cast it out, threw it away like dirt. They don't realize. Now, what you'll often find yourself drinking, see, some of them try and throw it away. Some of them try and call it immoral, that it's bad, that we're on the same level as them, that we're on the same level as you. What they don't understand is that people, humans, they put down pigs, they put down cows, all in the effort to call them food. They say that your kind are above them, and my kind is above you. So I would compare everyone in CCW to simply be cattle to the slaughter, Jack's neck being the first in line and one of many to come.
Oh my God, Luca just said that Jack Hart is going to be one of many in the CCW roster that's going to be a victim. Boy, Luca has made quite a statement here on Sportzwire Radio. He is certainly here, and he's not here to play nice. He's not here to be a part of them. He's only here to be the medicine to cure CCW of all its ills here. And boy, in this dramatically changed landscape in CCW, Luca might be at the top of, let's just say, the entire food chain. And Jack Hart, what a way to start his in-ring career by defeating a second-generation wrestler at a show for the man that's the most influential person in CCW history, and Mr. Carnage, and a man that has history with the first-generation wrestler of the man that Luca is wrestling in Jack Hart. Oh my God, it doesn't get any, let's say, more deadlier than it is right now. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. And if you are on Sportswire Radio, do me a favor. Go give a follow to CCW on YouTube, because especially since Luca's here, you most certainly don't want to get in his way. You most certainly don't want to be one of those victims, because Jack Hart, there's nothing that Jack Hart can do other than potentially maybe not show up. Jack Hart, there is nothing he can do. He is going to be the first victim, the first of many victims. All you have to do is put in Cutlery Community Wrestling now. It's Cutlery Community Wrestling. You can check that out here. All you have to do is go to Cutlery Community Wrestling. You can go here, and you've got a list of great things to look at. You got live shows, videos, whatever you want. CCW has it all. We're on that road to 600 subscribers. Join the movement. Join Colory Community Wrestling. And we are here with Luca, who is making quite a statement tonight on Sportzwire Radio because, as I said before, this is a man that's going to certainly have an appetite for destruction, and his carnage appetite starts next Saturday here with the one and only Jack Hart. Luca, what are your goals here in Colory Community Wrestling?
My goal, who as you referred to me, be the medicine of CCW, to cure it of all its ills. I seek to share my gift, but only with those who are worthy of it.
Mm.
And Jack Hart is one of the many that will just be another place.
Now, have you identified anyone that might be, let's just say, thinking or maybe doing as you will?
Magician doesn't reveal his secrets. Why should a
Mm.
vampire reveal his next meal?
You know what? Obviously, you know what? And I don't want to be that meal because the old Aesop's Fable story. I mean, obviously, I know you're obviously very busy, thinking about medicine and to give doses to the CCW roster and such. But the old Aesop's Fable was, you're there and they're cooking the meal and you're the meal that's cooked. So we don't want to go. We don't want to do that. We certainly don't want to be a part of that movement and that fable there. But I mean, let's say you demolish Jack Hart. I mean, is there anybody else in terms of, let's say, future opponents that you have your set sight on? Or let's go conversely with that question.
Well,
Anybody bothering you in CCW that you certainly, let's just say, I don't know. I mean, don't necessarily see eye to eye with your agenda and they deserve to get a dose of your medicine. I mean, we asked you about who might be seeing eye to eye with you, but conversely, who you may not like, let's say, after you, let's just say, get rid of the second generation trash and Jack Hart coming up next Saturday.
well, there's always plenty of other remarkable and unremarkable things I could sink my teeth into. But I'd say for now, the goal is to make a toothpick of Jack Hart.
A toothpick. But, let's just say Jack Hart, it was all in competition. He eliminates you and it wasn't personal. And maybe that's just competition. I mean, wouldn't you have done the same thing? What about that point and maybe giving Jack Hart a pass and maybe focusing on someone else? What do you say toward that?
I would say he made it personal the second he decided to intervene in what was a family matter. You see, that moment wasn't just about attempting to get to the top, attempting to win. It was an opportunity to prove to someone that what they thought they were was nothing better than the dirt that you'd see on your shoe, nothing more than roadkill you'd see on the side of the street. He didn't just rob me of the opportunity to win that rumble. He robbed me of the opportunity to stay there, to enjoy what had just happened.
So this is really personal. This isn't just about getting even for a few weeks ago. This is more than that. It's not even about his name. It's not even about who his father was. It's really personal for you more than anything else.
Suppose that's one way to put it. And if he has heart in the name, then we'll see how long it takes for it to stop beating after it's drained.
Now, and if it stops beating, I would imagine, knowing who you are, that's a perfect meal for you. That could be, Valentine's Day is coming, and that could be maybe, let's just say, the perfect 3-course meal for you.
Well, Valentine's Day isn't just about opening our mind. It's also about
Hearts, and you could have a heart to devour, and I mean, quite a meal there for you. I mean, let's just say that would be a meal. Maybe it would be a meal for Luca. I mean, instead of an interview with a vampire, it could be a meal for Luca or a meal with Luca. And maybe your Valentine is Jack Hart. Maybe it's just 8 days later because you're gonna look at him and that's your heart to decimate. And that's your heart to enjoy, and maybe give you a nice little appetizer, or maybe an entree with that blood presumably you're drinking. So boy, what better way to get some food for the weekend for the house?
Well, unfortunately, with people like Jack Hart and the many faces you see in CCW, that just like fine dining, you have those things you really want, but then you also see the trash, and you have to remember that at the same time. Food is fuel.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it's what seems to be the main cause with most of the CCW crowd.
Mm.
Definitely say that a few of them would plug your throat a bit, but there are some that I think you might be in there.
Well, let's just say that Jack Hart is definitely going to be a meal that you're looking forward to devouring here. There's no question that this is a meal you're certainly looking forward to indulging in. Let's just say it'll be quite the weekend for you. Maybe a main entree and, certainly a side there or two. And Jack Hart's heart, figuratively and literally, is exactly going to be the meal that you're looking for next Saturday at the CCW Carnage show in the tribute of the late great Mr. Carnage. And what a way Luca is about to make a statement as he's going to wrestle second generation wrestler Jack Hart, a man who's, let's just say, first generation, his daddy had plenty of history with, and a legendary war or two you might have remembered with Mr. Carnage himself. Just how fitting that this is. What comes around goes around, and Luca is definitely looking forward to devouring, let's just say, a main entree heart of a meal here from this second generation trash. And certainly hearts aren't trash in terms of what they'll taste like, but he will be that second generation trash that Luca is going to devour here coming up next Saturday. CCW's next show. CC Dub, Cutlery Community Wrestling. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. I know you're a busy man, and I know you're obviously thinking about ways to devour Jack Hart's heart. I know that you're thinking about who exactly that you want to give medicine to on the CCW roster. And I know certainly you have an appetite for destruction that only them is going to get a chance to see coming up here next Saturday. But I ask you, is there maybe any final words for Jack Hart? Maybe you want to tell Jack Hart not to show up. I know I kind of implied it, maybe, but maybe you want to tell him anything that'll be good for him. Maybe give him a dose of his own medicine that you're maybe going to give him as heeds of warning. But do you have any final words for Jack Hart before next Saturday?
Say your prayers, Jack. They won't help you.
Oh my God! He said, say your prayers, but it still won't help him. Oh my God, Jack Hart. Maybe Jack Hart should drop dead and give his heart over to Luca because Luca's already telling him even prayers won't work. The only thing you can do is go to buy a ticket to CCW's next show for Mr. Carnage, that tribute next Saturday. Who knows? Maybe even Luca will be watching that Rumble for Mr. Carnage very closely. Who knows? Maybe you're watching that Rumble there for Mr. Carnage. Wouldn't that be an ironic part, right? Get rid of second generation trash and maybe even somehow enter that Rumble for Mr. Carnage and win it. Just what a way to give out medicine. Maybe they'll call you the medicine man rather than Luca.
A medicine man
Medicine
helps
man.
everyone, even the unworthy. A medicine man wastes his talents. A vampire sees his superiority. He sees his gift. The thing with vampirism is that you have to be worthy of it. You have to embrace
Mm.
the circle, those 8 layers of hell. You have to embrace the blood. You have to really feel that hit. You have to understand it. But only then you realize that the true joy isn't the blood. It isn't the long lasting life. It isn't the sense of self. The true joy of it being able to look around in that and just know if you really wanted to, that entire room could just be left with a feast of crows. A feast for yourself, even. You enter a room and it turns into a slaughterhouse. What I intend to do when I beat Jack Hobbs, if I enter that rumble, it will not be the same outcome as fight or strike. As I said before, it's not a box, it's not a competition, it's a hotel room, it's a place to explore my skills, to realize just how truly great I am, to indulge in this gift I have been given, to show you the pain I have gone through to obtain it, to show you the highs, to show you the lows, and to make everyone in that ring realize that there is no hope, there is no God. The only thing you can truly know that will always come in this life is the pain, it's the torture. Everything you have will lose. Everything you know will be gone. And in 100 years' time, nothing more than just dust, just bones. But I won't be, because I'll still be here.
You know what? You'll be devouring everyone's heart. You'll be getting quite a bit of protein. You'll be certainly getting quite a bit of, let's just say, calcium. You'll be getting quite a bit of vitamin D, vitamin E. You'll be getting quite a bit of skin complexions. You'll be obviously getting enough strength to allow you to live on forever. And you'll certainly live on forever in CCW. And you'll be at the top of the food chain. And you'll have everyone's food because we'll all be your food. And that meal starts, that first meal to allowing you to live forever and to have forever eternity will be next Saturday at the CCW Carnage show for Mr. Carnage with Jack Hart. And Jack Hart, your heart is going to be delivered on a silver platter. Whether you try to fight it or not, it won't be the same as Fight or Strike because Luca is going to, let's just say, have an appetite for destruction and for unlawful carnal knowledge. He's about to, let's just say, develop is going to start with you. And let's just say everybody else that's out there, them as he calls you, let's just say don't get in the way because Luca's got plenty of medicine. He's about to, let's just say, unleash on the CCW roster. And the only way to find out is to go to the Colory Community Wrestling Facebook page, YouTube, Instagram, and join the movement, or else Luca will come after you. As I've stated, he's got an appetite for destruction. He's about to unleash a for unlawful carnal knowledge like no one has never seen, and he's got plenty of medicine to give out. And if you're in that CCW locker room right now, whether it's Johnny Flashback, whether it's Rico Justice, whether it's anybody out there, you better just stay as far away out of Luca's way. Maybe even you, James Barris. Who knows? Who knows? Let's just say James Barris and maybe even that guy who's original. Maybe that original guy right now. Maybe he'll be watching this, let's just say, with an original point of view. But Luca, I see the blood's already developing. Anything else you want to say? Anything you got before next Saturday? Because I could see you're getting ready for devouring more, and I don't want to turn into Jack Hart. So the floor is yours.
You keep saying that word, medicine.
Yes, you're the medicine man, sir.
You see, when my fangs enter someone's flesh, it's a feeling, not just for me, but for them. And to know that what flows through your veins, what pumps with every heartbeat, goes to a better cause, a better life. But there are those few who are worthy. You see, I don't pick and choose, but what I do pick and choose is how much I want to take. I could care less if it was man and woman, child, even in terms of who is my next meal. But what I do pick is if they join me in this life, if that's medicine, as you keep calling it,
Medicine.
if it is used to help them, if it allows them to see things clearer, to show them what God never could, to show them the life that they must just truly hate. And that is one thing that I was at one point. I was that same kid, that same man, the one who would go missing and you'd never even notice, the one who could disappear without a trace and you'd forget he even existed. Until that fateful day, all that was surrounded was nothing but death, nothing but carnage, nothing but blood. It's a landscape I intend to recreate next week at the Colliery Carnage show against my match. And in my match with Jack Hart, I intend to recreate that very landscape of blood, of death, of carnage, of gore, of viscera, of destruction. And the thing that carried me through that dark time wasn't a will, it wasn't hope, it was a hate. And that's the thing that people do not realize, that your kind does not realize, that Jack Hart does not realize. You can have all the heart in the world, but even then, a will can still be battered down and it can still be broken. Come that day, my will, my heart was gone. All that was replaced was black. And it wasn't hope that kept me going, it was hate. It was an appetite. It was a want to go on, to prove that all those who belittled me were worth nothing more than dirt. They were cockroaches, they were vermin, they were insects, they were rats.
Mm.
And that's what everyone in that room reminds me of. Every time I've had the displeasure of stepping in there and seeing all those people and all the faces and all the descendants of the people who once mocked me in life. I obviously can't punish them, so if I must, I'll take the second best and I'll just end the future of them.
Oh my goodness.
You keep saying history,
Yes.
but you never remember the losers, do you? So, Jack,
We don't remember those who lost the World Cup. We don't remember those that lost the heavyweight championship fight in boxing. We don't remember those who lost at WrestleMania. We don't remember the losers. No. No, we don't.
so, so Jack,
Second place doesn't count. Doesn't count.
next week, Corey Carnage, 22nd of February. When we meet each other for that second time, there's no interference, there's no people to chuck me over, there's no people to chuck you over. It's just me and you. I'll say this now, and don't forget it. You might have heart in your name, you obviously have a heart in your chest, but you do not have spirit. What little crevices you have left, you'll simply be crawling back into them by the end of it. And that's under the assumption you can walk by the end of this. I don't intend to leave someone who simply lost, to leave someone who can sit up and think, wow, I just lost to him. What I intend is to leave someone who can barely stand, who can barely open his eyes, who will be in the amount of pain that death would be more preferable. Your neck is on the line, and for your sake, you'd want to hope I've already fed on that day.
Oh
Otherwise,
my God. You're hungry. He's hungry like the wolf, and he's not a wolf. He's a vampire. He's definitely more than hungry like a wolf. And Jack's neck is on the line. And Jack, like I said, now it's your neck, it's your heart. It does sound like, after all, Luca is developing a three-course meal. A three-course meal. It's going to be your neck, it's going to be your heart, and very well, it's going to be your mind. Boy, ladies and gentlemen, I cannot wait for next Saturday. I cannot wait for the entire Carnage show. The only thing left is to say thank you very much for your time, champ. I hope that you enjoy the rest of what's left of your evening and your meal. Boy, I know you're waiting patiently for next Saturday, and you'll be giving out plenty of medicine. There's no doubt about it. He's finished his drink! He's finished his drink, which means the only thing left is to say, My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. If you're on Sportswire Radio, hit that sub button for me. If you're here, hit the sub button for CCW. And Luca, thank you so much for your time. And I'm looking forward to you developing plenty of medicines for them, plenty of medicines for the CCW locker room. And Jack Hart, the only thing that might be over is just the shouting. We'll see ya. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. If you're here on Sportswire Radio, we'll have more CCW coverage soon. But until then, that is Luca. And Luca said plenty, but I think he's going to say even more and maybe even do even more next Saturday. And until then, CC Dub, CC Dub, CC Dub. And go follow CCW on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and wherever else they're on social media. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, on the number one global radio station that is Sportswire Radio, where all wrestling matters. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Luca, we'll see you soon, real soon. And thank you, everybody. Have a great night.